Hi, Tom from VPG Gaming here, bringing you hopefully, oh my god, Tom from VPG Gaming here, bringing you the first and hopefully not the last. Why do I change it in my head? Oh, this is why I write a script every fuck. Hi, Tom from VPG Gaming here, bringing you the first of hopefully many interviews with other content creators on YouTube. And today I have with me Alucard2089. Hey dude, how's it going?
Hey, doing good, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So, do you just want to introduce yourself a little bit so other people can know who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name's Ethan. My YouTube channel is Alucard2089, and primarily a retro gaming channel where, well, most people think my channel is just an unboxing channel at this point, but as soon as I get better at video editing, we'll have some more reviews and things like that on there, but typically do a lot of streaming and retro game streams and stuff like that, and just enjoy playing retro games and, you know, talking to people in the chat and having a good time, you know.
Happy days, man, happy days. Cool. So I've set up a bunch of questions. There's 50 in total. Doesn't mean to say we have to do all 50, but there's a wide range of questions here, ranging from gaming stuff to a whole host of other topics. So we're just going to bash straight through those. First question, bit of an easy one. What was the first game you remember playing?
Yeah, so I kind of have a story about this. So when I was a kid, my dad had an NES with Mario Brothers, of course, like everyone had. I was still pretty much a baby, so I didn't really, I probably don't even really remember this. It was just him telling me this. But he said I would come in the room and he would be playing Mario, and I would come up and smack the controller out of his hands and say, I do, like I'm gonna play. And
just coming in ruining his game session, basically. Like,
yeah, and he said that I would take the controller away and I'd just be hitting the jump button and that was it, and I'd just be making Mario sit there and jump over and over again.
So you weren't completing any levels. You were just literally in stationary, just up and down.
I was probably like 1 or something, I guess, at the time, but
you gotta learn the basics, though. To be fair,
yeah,
like, you gotta learn the basics before you start, you know, mastering the levels.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like my own memories, my first game, it was definitely Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, which was probably a few years after that, or a couple years after that, anyways. Grew up playing that, and still have a lot of fond memories of Super Mario World.
Yeah, it's great game. I'm along the same with that. Along with a load of other games. One of the first was Super Mario World. Probably one of the first games I remember being genuinely able to complete without help. Did you read any gaming magazines when you were younger?
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff. So when I was growing up, I used to subscribe to GamePro and Electronic Gaming Monthly, and probably some other ones too. Really wish I would have been subscribed to the Dreamcast magazine. I still love going back through those and looking at them. But yeah, I read those for many years. I had a huge collection of those magazines over the years, but I've moved so many times, I ended up losing them. But yeah, I really love those magazines, the old ones, you know.
I think it's one of those ones where I'm the same. I've got thankfully I have the vast majority of my magazines, and even flicking back through now, I find a lot of games that I either didn't know at the time or had no inkling or remembrance or idea what they were, and I've now gone back after finding out about them. But it's just something about having the physical medium of it compared to going online and watching a YouTube video or reading a review. Did you have any other interests outside of gaming while growing up?
Definitely. So I've been a lifelong artist, and so I think the first job I ever wanted to do when I was a kid was to be a cartoonist or something like that, or an animator, which is actually something I've been getting recently into since I started learning digital art and things like that. I've done a few simple animations, and I actually want to do some custom animations and intro movies for my channel as well. So we'll probably have some dedicated, you know, animation videos on the channel at some point. Another thing I was really into was any kind of extreme sports, like BMX, skateboarding, rollerblading, all that type of stuff. I was really into that growing up, even up to the point to where I was probably 15 or 16, until I could drive, I guess I would say.
I'm glad to hear another fellow skater. That makes me happy. Like, it's always good. I've got my original skateboard just over there by the wall, and I bought a new one last year as well. In trying to think that I could skate again, I can't. I found out I can't. I mean, I can, but I'm too old.
I'll probably break my neck like my mom used to say I would all the time.
That's what the wife keeps telling me. She's like, no, don't go outside. Remember the last time you hurt yourself? And I'm like, I didn't. All I did was ollie onto a curb and fell on my coccyx and busted my tailbone up. Like, it's like I can't. I am too old to recover from any of this anymore. Like, I still wanna try. It's like the meme. It's like the Steve Buscemi meme. Like, hello, fellow kids. It's like that. Like I can still skate. Yeah, sure. Like, but dear God, no, not at all. Compared to where I live, like, there's not a vast amount of places you can go to go do these things. You kind of have to travel quite far to go to a skate park. So I mean, was there like a like a skate park close to you that you could go to, or would you just more like sort of street and you'd go to like spots or?
Yeah, so for me it was almost, I would say probably 95% of the time it was all street skating, because the town I lived in, we didn't have any skate parks or anything. There was a small skate park in the next city over, probably about 30 minutes away, that we got to go to every now and then. But even when we got dropped off there at the skate park, we would go to like the colleges and other different places and skate different areas around there. So even then it was more street skating. Like, we would go hang out with some of the kids at the skate park for a little while, and then we'd go off and do our own thing. I actually got really big into rollerblading and stuff like that as well. That ended up being my preferred thing, even though I liked everything else. But I got really good at that when I was younger, me and a few friends of mine. And I'll just say that Jet Set Radio probably inspired me more than it should ever inspire anybody.
Yes.
And I pretty much did the same things in real life that went on in that game.
That wall riding, like spraying, tagging the walls you're going past, like.
Even did the graffiti thing.
Oh, amazing.
And most of it was in places where you wouldn't see it though.
See, but that's the thing. You've got the big brain thing of like not like you enjoy doing it, and it's not exactly it's against the law technically, but like you were clever enough not to be like, I'm gonna spray paint my name on the side of this building so everyone can see who it is, like, or do it in obvious places, I guess, for it. Yeah, I did that as well, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I ended up doing that. Was there anyone who influenced you in gaming?
Do you mean like a certain developer or creator, artist?
I guess, I mean, was there anyone that kind of, that you kind of had like a fascination's the wrong word, but a kind of inkling towards following them, and they would kind of tend to sort of meld your gaming habits or playstyles or genres that you would look into sort of a little bit more had you not had an interest in before, I guess. It's a bit long-winded question now, I realised.
No, that's okay. It's I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but you had mentioned reading through magazines and even following like different editors and stuff like that throughout the magazines. I feel like I did that before, all those years ago when I used to read GamePro and stuff like that, and they had their own journalists basically, which would write articles for each magazine, and I feel like if you're reading something like that monthly and picking up the magazine probably like every day or every other day and looking at different things in it, the names start to like stick out to you, like who's writing the reviews. So I definitely experienced that some when I was younger. But as far as anything actually influencing the games I got into or anything, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. You know, it's just I've always had a really huge interest in video games, and I always, you know, kind of, if I thought it looked good, I'd give it a shot, you know, and I'm still, you know, kind of the same way today in how I choose games.
Do you have any stories about gaming when you were younger? So, you know, staying up, a marathon sitting, accomplishments of, you know, certain games, any sort of like, you know, one big memory. I know you already explained one with your how you got around to your first game. Have you got like sort of like a gaming, any other gaming stories that you remember from younger that are kind of sort of out there a bit more?
Yeah, I probably have too many, honestly. I'm trying to think of the best one I can tell for the interview. I know when I was typically probably between the ages of 7 and 9, you know, I had two best friends that we were always, you know, staying at each other's houses and playing games all night and stuff. And we played so many games. I mean, all of us had N64s and PlayStation 1s, and that's basically what we were, you know, primarily gaming on at the time. So I have a lot of memories of, you know, staying up all night playing like Mario Party 1 or Mario Party 2. And with 3 or 4 people, like, those games can go on forever. And we picked like the longest board we could pick, and it'd take like 4 hours to even beat one table.
Was there any games that you wished you owned or played when you were younger?
Oh yeah, quite a few. You know, it's I didn't really get new games all the time when I was younger, and as I got, you know, past like 10 years old, typically I had to save up like my own money to try to get a game a lot of times, or, you know, maybe for Christmas or birthdays or something, I might get something like that. But yeah, it was kind of you know, few and far between there for a lot of years. So I guess I played what I had quite a bit. There's a ton of games that I wanted, you know, because I was, you know, subscribed to all those magazines, and you know, plus being on the internet and stuff like that too. But there were just so many games that were coming out, stuff that I wanted to get that I didn't have the money for. And I guess you could say that maybe that's what I'm doing now, is trying to collect all the games I couldn't get when I was a kid.
It's like the only benefit of being an adult. It's like,
yeah,
it's like being able to buy all of these old games that I sort of, with, you know, starry eyes looked at and was like, oh, I wish I could afford that. Or, you know, getting like the same, getting like one or two new games a year, and the rest would just be swapping with friends.
Yeah, I did a lot of that too.
Yeah.
A lot of trading. And well, even my Dreamcast and GameCube was trades from a friend back in middle school.
What did you trade for them? Like,
so for the Dreamcast, now I got crazy deals on both of these because my friend didn't really want it anymore.
Why would you want Dreamcast anymore? The fool!
Yeah, I know, exactly. Like, I've been dying to get one. And he was one of those kids, you know, he kind of got everything day one. And, you know, because his mom or his grandma or somebody would buy it for him. And he'd get tired of everything after a little while, you know. So the Dreamcast, this was in either 2000 or 2001. I think it was like towards the end of 2000. What year did Majora's Mask come out? It was like...
Yeah, it came out.
It was 2000 or 2001.
2000, maybe?
I think it was 2000.
The copyright on here says 2000.
Yeah, I think it was. So what I did was, I had just gotten Majora's Mask. It hadn't been out that long. And he knew that I got it, and he was just bugging me constantly every day wanting that game. And I'm like, no, man, I'm not going to trade it to you for anything, you know, because Zelda was like my big thing at the time, you know. and I didn't want to trade it. So he'd been bugging me for a week saying, I'll trade you this and that and all this stuff. He's naming like everything he owns to trade to me. And finally he said, I'll trade you my Dreamcast for it. And I said, you're full of shit. And you know, that was even when we were like 10 years old. I said, you're full of shit. You're not going to trade me that. So he said, bring it to school tomorrow. And, you know, I'll bring my Dreamcast. And I said, okay. So funny story about that is I told my grandma and my aunt about it because they, you know, helped buy that for me. And they were pissed that I was even thinking about trading it, you know. And I'm like, but you guys don't understand. This is like a $300 console that he's going to trade me with a couple of games with it and the memory cards and all that other stuff. And so I had the VMU in my hand and I had the rest of it in my backpack. So when I came home, I just pulled the VMU out of my pocket and I was like, let me get a VMU here. I was like, this is a Sega Dreamcast. And they were so pissed off. They're like, I can't believe you traded that for that thing. And I'm laughing so hard about it. And finally I pull my backpack open and I'm like, no, this is the whole thing right here.
Like literally trolling your family to... that's such... Like I swapped like games and random magazines with friends, but never a console. Like,
yeah.
And like Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda. So, but like at the time, yeah, like Majora's Mask versus here's a brand new console. I mean, the Dreamcast would have only been potentially half a year, not even that old. So to, like you say, to get that and the VMUs and games, that's like, you could have sold one part. You could have sold an extra VMU and a controller back and bought a copy of Majora's Mask back again. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You would have been able to walk into EB Games or GameStop and go get that at that point in time without any hassle. Oh, that's insane.
I ended up trading a bunch of N64 and PlayStation 1 games to get more Dreamcast games right after that.
What did you get? It's like your first like Dreamcast purchase. Like what did you end up buying?
So the system, I think he only had one game with it. It was like the web browser, maybe a demo disc, and I think it was NFL 2K. And then not long after that, I got Jet Grind Radio and Sonic Adventure on the same day.
That's not a bad shit. If you had told me something like Blue Stinger and Soul Fighter or something, we'd have to end it here. Like, just like I'm glad you got like some proper games with that trade in there. I
remember seeing the commercials for Jet Grind Radio, and it was just this crazy commercial. It was extremely Japanese. I know it had to have been in Japan, but it was in a convenience store. I don't remember what all was going on in that commercial, but for some reason I was like, I gotta have this game. I don't even know what the hell the game is, because it's just shown a Japanese convenience store, but it's so crazy I want to see it. So
it sold it on that. Just that one part sold you enough to go, yeah, sold, done, need it, want it.
Yeah, and I didn't even know what the game was about, so I looked it up online and I was like, holy shit, I got to get this game, And still to this day, one of my favorite games. I still have my original copy of it.
Yeah, that's nuts. I wish I was friends back with you in school, man. I wish I was over in America. If you're doing trades like that, I would have. Yeah, man. I would have brought in a crap ton of stuff each and every day. Would set up my own little shop. Been like, what we doing?
Yeah, that's kind of how it used to be. We traded stuff like crazy. I mean, the same guy. The next year, he traded me a GameCube. He got his before it came out in Japan. There was a store that got Japanese consoles, and they had the toggle switch that you could change to turn it into English. And he got one of those day one, and I was with him when he bought it. So it probably was maybe another couple of months before it was going to come out in the US. And he got a Japanese copy of Luigi's Mansion, and a Japanese memory card, and an American memory card. And he ended up trading me that a year after the Dreamcast for a pair of rollerblades.
Oh my god.
So I just got really lucky on all that.
Lucky is one way of putting it. Yes, that's that's the polite way of putting it.
Yeah.
I get a time travel machine. I'm coming back. I'm going back to the early '90s and finding you and your friend. I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna make friends with him super quick first, and bring him some stuff. Like, oh my god. Slightly off gaming topic then. Do you like any particular music, or do you have a favorite artiste or band?
Yeah, definitely. So I've always been a metalhead. Been into heavy metal and stuff like that, and old rock and stuff ever since I was a kid, really. And I've been a musician probably more than half my life now. I started playing guitar when I was 14. Been in some bands, not ones that we actually had any records released, but a few garage bands, and just playing, on my own for many, many years. Trying to actually get more into that as well at this time, trying to get some more gear and recording equipment and stuff. As far as favorite bands, I definitely have to put Black Sabbath out there. Definitely one of my favorite bands of all time. As far as like modern bands or bands that are still around, I guess, one of my favorite bands is called the Melvins, and I've seen them, I think, 4 times now.
I think it's great that there are a lot of bands that you can grow up with or you've been fans of, and they're still, thankfully, still going. But yeah, classics like Black Sabbath, like that's just sort of proper go-to music. Like, is there a favorite song that if you were going to put on any Black Sabbath, just to chill out with or relax to, like, if you got a favorite song?
There's so many I love, but I would say one that comes to mind that I'll probably put on quite a bit, like right off the bat, will probably be Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Everything about that song, like everything that Ozzy says, which I'm sure it was written by Geezer Butler because he wrote all the lyrics anyways, but it's just brilliant. Like everything he says, I feel like you can almost take it in a literal sense, of how reality can be sometimes.
Yeah, it's great. It's great when you can have that sort of, what's the word? It's not like emotional attachment, but like, yeah, you can. It hits you properly, and you can fully appreciate it for not only the music side of it, but like you say, lyrically, all parts work so well that it sticks with you, and you have that attachment to it. Yeah, that's cool, man. It's a good choice as well. It's a good choice. Like I'm with you on that. I don't listen to enough of it, but yeah, I can definitely appreciate that as a choice, man. Continuing with the non-gaming questions, what's your favourite food and drink to chow down on?
Probably pizza and of course beer.
Nice and simple. Nothing too extravagant. No lobster or filet mignon or something like that. Just pizza and beer.
Yeah. No, if I grill out, I do love to grill some burgers and steaks and stuff like that. But I love Japanese food too. But I want to go to Japan and eat real Japanese food.
What is your favourite movie? One of the most generic questions I could probably ask in all of this.
It's kind of hard to say because I've grown up watching so many movies, and even in recent years, I've watched a ton of movies. It's really kind of hard to say. I've always kind of gravitated towards a lot of horror movies and comedy type stuff. So I'll give 2, I guess, based on genres. So my favorite comedy movie has to be Step Brothers. I think that's the funniest damn movie that's ever been made. And for horror movies, I was really kind of obsessed with like Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street growing up. So I really like those, like the slasher type films. Also really big into Evil Dead.
Yeah, Evil Dead, like Step Brothers, I've only, as of in the last year, watched. I've never watched it before. Wife has constantly told me about it, and I'm pissed that I haven't watched it before I did.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man.
So good. Yeah, Freddy Krueger as well, Nightmare on Elm Street, Like, love them. Evil Dead is so good. Such a good movie. Along with all the sequels, even the remake. Like the remake, I often people seem to harp on it quite a lot, but I genuinely think that remake or reboot or whatever it comes under. That's a really good movie as well. Proper brutal as well for it. Really got to think of a better way of not alt-tabbing so I can keep the questions up. But hey ho, I'll think of a way of doing this properly. Is there an item that is your holy grail that you wished you own? Like an item that you wished you owned, or you do already own, that you've been after for time, you finally now, that's it, that's your main item that you've been trying to get for years.
One thing I would have to say is this PlayStation 2 right here.
I knew you were going to say that. Like I remember you saying in the video on that one. I knew that was coming. I'm so happy for you as well. I'm jealous as all hell, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that thing. Finally got it. I mean, as far as games like Holy Grail stuff, back in the day, I probably would have said like Panzer Dragoon Saga. But now that I know Japanese, I would just get Panzer Dragoon Azel for $50 or $60 instead.
Yeah.
But I guess if I had any other like really big Holy Grails, maybe like Sapphire on the PC Engine.
Need to plot down some money for that. That's not cheap. And same Panzer Dragoon. Like it's insane. A lot of these games that are like the English version of them are so stupidly either rare or expensive. And you look at the Japanese version, and it's dirt cheap. And it's the same game, it's just the text is different. But yeah, it's weird to think the difference in price value just for that language barrier.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, most English speakers won't even attempt to play anything like that. Without any, knowledge of Japanese, they won't even attempt it. I think that's a lot of reason why they're probably a lot cheaper. Even PlayStation 1 RPGs and stuff like that, and PlayStation 2 RPGs, they're really going up in price now for the English versions. So, like, I don't even have a big PlayStation collection at all anymore. So from now on, I'm just going for import games.
Pictures speak 1,000 words. You can probably tell what's going on if someone, in a Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest or any of these sort of games. You can probably work out what is going on just by playing through the game. I know I did with Metal Gear. It's like I was infiltrating a base and I needed to shoot people, and that's all I needed to know. It's like Doom. It doesn't need a story. Like, I'm glad I played it now in English. It's one of my favourite games, but at the time, the game was fun enough to play through that language barrier was not a actual barrier to stop me, other than progression because I couldn't read. It wasn't a progression to stop me not wanting to play. Which thankfully, obviously now with fan translations and stuff, it's a lot easier to go back and play some of these games. And that's good that you're learning Japanese as well, man. That's definitely a handy thing to have, because you can appreciate a lot more when the translation doesn't one for one go with what's actually being said in some of these things.
Oh yeah, and in my case, the translations aren't very great. Like for Google Translate or something, I always end up doing it myself.
No, Google Translate is not the best when it comes to translations. And there's some companies as well which just have like Working Designs just have some of the best translations, for better or worse. They have some of the best translations of certain games. Final Fantasy VII is a standout one that translated to multiple languages all across the world, and some of the things is just so wrong or not right, or they've had to interpret it a different way just to not offend a different culture.
That's true too. There's a lot like that in older games, or some games that never even came out in the West because of something like that, or maybe a character in the game. So like Kid Dracula has some questionable stuff in there, but completely culturally different than anywhere else. So I think that's why that game wasn't released outside the West, or outside of Japan.
Yeah, I found that out. Shameless plug. I might have reviewed that possibly sometime around this video. I'm sure maybe Tom in post-edit might put a picture somewhere in one of these corners. Who knows? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But yeah, there's a few things in that I saw that were weird. And questionable is definitely the correct word I would use to describe some of those things for it. Definitely. I feel like I already know what the answer is to this one, but if there was anywhere in the world that you could visit, where would it be?
Oh, it'd definitely be Japan, hands down. But at the same time, though, I've always been really interested in Europe as well. You know, in places like the UK and Germany and just other different places in Europe. But I think my first overseas trip would probably be to Japan.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Don't come here. It's wet and cold and windy and rainy all the time. It's pointless. There's nothing really good to see here. I mean, there probably is somewhere, but Europe definitely has some really nice locations to go to. Is it? Yeah. Would you, if for going Japan, then would you, like focus in on say like Tokyo, or would you want to go sort of a bit broader and maybe start from the top, work your way down? See, is it like just like the main part, like because like most people, I'm guilty of it. Like the main area I wanted to go to and we did go to was Tokyo. But only through time and money we weren't able to travel as far outside of that circle that we wanted to go to. So I mean, is there other parts, or would it mainly just be there? Or
I know, like the first time I go, it's probably going to depend on how much time I actually have that I can spend there. But I definitely want to go to other areas. I'm sure the first time I'll definitely visit Tokyo. I'm definitely interested in the Kansai region. Osaka and places, around that area as well that I'd like to go to. But I'm pretty much interested in all the places in Japan. There's so many awesome places there. There's, a ton of information you can find, even online, just researching the different areas and some of the other different islands.
Are there any creators that you would recommend following or looking into that people may or may not know of?
Definitely. So, I mean, I know that KidShoryuken's getting, a pretty big following now. But if you haven't checked out KidShoryuken, please check him out. He's got amazing videos. I'm sure that you and I probably watch a lot of the same channels, really. Scruffy Lookin RGB is another one. Sarumaru. And there's so many good channels. There's so many good retro channels now. That I think they get sort of lost in the millions of videos on YouTube sometimes, especially with how YouTube's algorithm is.
Yeah, it's not helpful. Like, I definitely think that the community has grown substantially in the last 1 to 2 years in the retro scene, at least. Whether that's to do with people like prices or trying to buy expensive games or anything, but regardless of it, I'm glad that it's growing and there is this influx of people, not only that I've watched for time, but there's new people that like you said before, that because you've watched someone, you get this inkling that you want to do it as well, and you get that chance of when you finally put it online and you get a reception and people comment and like and share, and other people that you watch then come in or happen to view your content. It's a great thing at the moment. It really is, and I'm proud to know and watch a lot of these people. My wallet isn't proud, thankfully, but it's getting good at the moment. It's getting good. I can't wait to see what the future's going to hold for not only yourself, but a lot of the people that you've named as well, and others. It's only going to get better and better as the year goes.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's definitely going to get better. All these communities are going to grow even more, and even more content creators are going to come out of this, from all these other channels. Even some of my own viewers are going to be starting their own channels pretty soon. So that's what we need. We need more people that are passionate about retro games and stuff like that to start doing their own content. And got to keep the retro scene alive.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best takes on it as well, is that you've been inspired by someone else, and now there's other people that are inspired by you to do it as well. So the chain constantly just grows, and the community grows and grows and grows because of that as well. And it's a, like you keep saying, it's a great thing to see and be part of, and it's also just like a proud thing as well. So if you're watching this and you want to make retro content, do it, because what have you got to lose? It's fun.
Yeah, exactly. I would say the same thing. If you're wanting to make videos, just keep in mind it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the best gear out there. The first step is just doing it. You just have to make that first video.
Pretty boring question, in all honesty. But what's your favorite game?
So that probably changes from year to year.
Yeah.
I've got so many favorite games. It's I'm probably still just as obsessed with Castlevania now as I was, growing up. So I definitely have to say, Symphony of Night's definitely one of my favorite games. And all the other Castlevanias, really, I just love the entire series. I got extremely into Zelda when I was younger, especially with Ocarina of Time. That's the game that really got me into Zelda, even though I played one or two of the other ones before. And I didn't really get into those until afterwards. Like, as I got older, I started wanting to play like every single Zelda game. But Ocarina of Time still to me is like, it's just one of those games I'll never forget about. It's kind of like the journey through that game and the progression through it, and just some of the epic moments, like going to the Temple of Time after you finally got the three sacred stones, to open the door to the Temple of Time to get the Master Sword. It was just like, that was such an epic moment, even for me as a kid. Like, as soon as I opened that door, I didn't even want to pull the Master Sword out. I wanted to look around and just kind of take it all in for a few minutes, before then.
Yeah, it's definitely that's one of those standout moments in that game. Like when you finally do pull out the sword as well, and the transformation from kid to adult is like, I'm finally the dude on the outside of the box. Like, I finally like, this is what happens. And then obviously all the gameplay changes that come with that as well. And Castlevania, yeah, 100%. It's one of the franchises that I didn't grow up with, like I knew of, and didn't really play any Castlevania game until later than I should have, essentially. Like, but it's it's the pedigree of it. I knew what it was about, and I knew how good it was. It just never actually sat down and had a go with them. And then since I have, same, just buy them all, buy anything to do with it. Love them. Like, they're brilliant games. There's only one or two which are awkward.
Yeah.
for a better way of putting it.
Yeah, most of them are really good. There's some that aren't really, that great, but most of them are really amazing games. Now that I think about it too, as far as favorite games, my favorite series is Xenoblade Chronicles. So the second one, that came out for the Switch, and also Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. That's definitely one of my favorite games of all time. Xenoblade Chronicles X got so much flack when it came out, but it's an absolutely amazing game. I really hope they come out with a sequel for it. And I still, really enjoy going back through that world, every so often,
Who is your favorite computer game character?
Going back to Zelda, I'd say, Link is probably one of the most iconic characters in, gaming history, even though he's kind of like the silent protagonist type of character. But I'm trying to think, as many RPGs as I've played, I have a feeling it probably would be, somebody from an RPG. Even like the Xenoblade games, a lot of people don't really like the characters in like Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I'm sorry. But I actually really liked them. I really like the whole cast of characters like Rex and Pyra and all the other characters, So I think I have kind of different views on games than a lot of people do, I guess. I think I try to accept them for what they are and not for what they could have been, I guess,
Yeah, that's definitely at the moment there seems to be a trend towards people being disappointed with a character, I think would be the way I would describe it, in that it's not what they envisioned the character, and they're not the one that designed the game or wrote the script or, the story or anything like that. So it's, you're exactly 100% right. Like, you appreciate it for what you've actually got there, not like, oh, I wish they did this or I wish they did that. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't say anything Castlevania related. So like,
oh yeah,
like no
Yeah.
Alucard or like
My favorite ones, because that's what my YouTube name's actually based on. I would have to say that too. I mean, Castlevania, always loved that whole series. Even Dracula, now we have an awesome Netflix series of Castlevania. I really love what they're doing with that. I think the way that they portray Sypha is really good. The way they portray all the characters, like Trevor and Alucard, I think they're really doing an amazing job of that, and it's not something we see very often to get an anime or a movie, based off of a video game that actually turns out to be that good. So that one actually surprised me quite a bit.
If you could choose one computer game world to live in, what game world would that be, and why?
I'd definitely have to say Xenoblade Chronicles X on that one again. I know I keep going back to that game, but a lot of people that haven't played it, I don't think they understand like the depth of that world, and just there's no other world like that in a video game. Like, it just doesn't exist anywhere else. A lot of people may not know this as well, but when the game came out, I would dare say it was the biggest open world game that had ever been made. Even at the time, it was bigger than Fallout 4, The Witcher 3, and Skyrim combined. And I would dare say it's probably bigger than Breath of the Wild. It's a very massive open world with 5 different continents you can explore on the planet Mira. And it's just amazing. An awesome world. If I could live in any world, it would probably be that one, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's got giant robots, so automatically that's a win. Like, I mean, any world that's got giant robots, I'm down for. Especially ones at work. So, I can see that. Yeah, I've seen some food items in the game that look delicious that I can imagine eating as well.
Yeah.
See, I think about it in terms of like not just like but I think about it in terms of like actually on a day-to-day basis. Like, I'd have to walk to the shops and go spend my whatever the game's money is, and what food would I be buying? Yeah, we're gonna get into some real talk now. These are some harder hitting questions. Who is better, Mario or Sonic?
I think it might depend on which era we're talking about, because with me it's kind of like, when I think of Sonic, I think of like everything up into, like nothing past the Dreamcast, almost, so it's like, I think in that sense, like back then, in the, 16 and 32-bit generation, I would say I was definitely more of a Sonic fan. But if you look at the history of Mario and how many awesome games that have came out since then, I think just the sheer amount of games that you can go back to and play for Mario in general, at least all the good ones, I would say, for right now, like in this generation, it's definitely Mario. But back then, Sonic all the way.
I mean, slightly biased, like just a tad. So, but
yeah,
I'm not blind enough to not know that Mario doesn't have an amazing library of games as well.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you said that, so you chose the right answer. That's one of the few where there is a correct answer for that one.
Yeah.
Same as before then, which is better, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
So when I was younger, I definitely would have said Mortal Kombat, just because I think it, it was one of those fighting games that was just, notorious for having blood and gore and stuff like that, and that's what everybody wanted to see. And, it even had like green blood in it, and I thought that was cool. That was supposed to be like a censorship type of thing, but I was like, green blood? I want to see that. But as I'm older, though, like I played both Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat quite a bit when I was younger. I just didn't really get into Street Fighter as much as what I am now. Now I really love Street Fighter, and I actually prefer it over Mortal Kombat. So, as I've got older, my tastes have kind of changed,
Probably one of BuzzFeed's favourite questions to ask. If you had a superpower, what would it be? What would you choose?
Oh, I'm sorry, I had to laugh because that's.
It's like it's like every single like sort of like personality quiz or anything like that is like I've even seen it on job interview things like if you had a superhero power, it's like but I can't. So why would this be relevant to my job? You're going to possibly not employ me because of this?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, a long time ago, like I came up with like different like smart-ass kind of answers, I guess. I guess that's what I would call it, but it's so this is what I always like to say. Some people may not like this, but if I had a superpower, it'd be the power to fix stupid because it can't be done.
I'm trying to have a drink there, and you generally almost made me spit it out across the keyboard. That is genius, though. I like that. I don't think I've actually heard that one before. You thought about that. Like, I like that. Yeah.
It's like, usually when I say it, people don't know what to say. I'm glad you got a laugh out of it, because some people were just like, okay, I can't believe you said that.
No, that's bang on. I'd happily be your sidekick if I could have a share of that power. Like, that'd be fine by me, man. Yeah.
My other one, if I had to pick, it'd be like some disgusting power that wouldn't even be a superpower. Kind of like how Aquaman is. He's kind of useless.
just something for the hell of it that only you would benefit from. Like,
yeah, it'd probably be like something really stupid, like I would like fart brown dust like in a cartoon or something like that. Just something stupid. Like
we'd have to think of something that could be added to that. But yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's is always a fun one. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Most of my jobs have actually been pretty bad. The worst one that I have had before, I started this job when I was 18, and it was in a tire factory, and like every bit of equipment they had was extremely unsafe. Like they had like electric pallet jacks that like the wiring and everything inside of it was all screwed up, and they were having to fix it like every day because it would break down. And it had an emergency stop button on it, and if you accidentally bumped the emergency stop thing, it would just take off by itself and go smacking into everything in the warehouse. So it's like everything they had was unsafe, and it was kind of like a death trap, really.
Surely that's the opposite of what's meant to happen. Like,
yeah, it was a pretty bad place to work.
Who is your hero in life?
That answer in itself will probably change quite a bit over the years. Growing up and everything, but I would say, I can't really think of any like personal like heroes that I have, but I mean, as far as people that I always like looked up to, a lot of it was musicians, other bands, just their mentality and just what they did in music that's kind of like gonna remain like forever timeless. Even like we're talking about Black Sabbath earlier, just the way he sings is nobody else can sing like him, you know. But at the same time, Geezer Butler was, you know, the person that really wrote all the lyrics and everything. Same thing with early Metallica and Cliff Burton. He basically wrote all the songs for them and everything. But I was just extremely influenced by music growing up, especially when I hit probably 10 years old. Yeah, probably 10 or 11 is when I got like extremely heavy into music. And, you know, that stuff has influenced me so much. It's like, it's kind of like it's a part of me now, you know? It's like, I wouldn't be who I am if those guys, all those many, many years ago, wouldn't have made the music that they did, you know?
Bit of a boring one. What was your favourite subject in school? I'm going to say music, I reckon.
Oh god, our music class was like ridiculous. They'd have us like singing. Who knows? That might have been my favorite subject, just because we were always getting in trouble in that class and making jokes of everything, and like the songs that they would have us singing, kind of like a choir type of thing, you know. And we would just laugh about it, and we'd like sing it in like old man voices and dance around and stuff. And we had a lot of fun doing it, you know. Probably art. I'd say as far as stuff I was actually really interested in, probably art. Really always liked art class and stuff. But as far as like academic subjects, I would say probably history was my favorite thing. Besides English, just because I was good at it.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm exactly the same. Like music was the one class that we could dick around far more than any other class and get away with a lot more stuff. And same, having to do sort of choir sort of songs and stuff. I went to an all boys school. You're not gonna get a bunch of lads trying to sing choir songs properly. It's just not gonna happen. 100% not gonna happen. Like, so yeah, we found fun where we could with those.
Oh yeah.
What would be the first question that you would ask after waking up from being cryogenically frozen for 100 years?
I actually remember seeing this question on the list, and I did think about it for a minute. There's so many ways I could answer that, because, like, what would I actually be thinking about after waking up from being that time? I'd probably be saying something like, "Did I die? Am I already dead?" or something like. Yeah. I don't know.
I think it helps to think about the reason that you would go in. So it's like, are you going in to escape something? So, you know, it's like aliens or something weird, or, you know, the fact that we'd have the technology to be able to do this to begin with, it'd be like, oh, okay.
Right.
But
and it's like, would you remember it too? Would you remember everything from that time? You know, from 100 years prior, would you even have your memories intact? You know,
I'd probably just be asking where the toilet is. Can I have a coffee? Just something so mundane, just that it's like hope that they can understand me. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, man, there's so many. This kind of goes back to something I said previously, and there's a lot of things it could apply to, but just, you know, in life in general, or even if you're starting a YouTube channel or you want to start doing anything, you know, the first step is just to do it. You know, we overthink so many things in our lives, you know, and planning is definitely important, but it's like some things are never going to happen unless you put that one foot forward in front of the other and actually do it, you know. And I've heard that from a lot of people, so I can't really say it's just came from one person, but now I'm saying it again, and somebody will hear this, and, you know, to them it will come from me, basically.
Well, yeah, that's been a bunch of questions. A lot of questions, actually. Some really good insights here. Some interesting answers. Some really dumb questions by myself as well. So it's been a nice mix. Have you got anything else that you would like to say or promote, or, you know, or let people know what's going on in the future with your channel at all?
Yeah, so I just want to say, you know, I really appreciate you, you know, having me on the channel. It's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed, you know, talking to you and everything, and, you know, maybe we can do some more videos together and stuff in the future. As far as content on my channel, there's so many things that I have planned. You know, a lot of people may not know this, but, you know, all the art and everything that you see on my streams and the thumbnails and the videos and my little avatar, like all that's my own art. We're gonna definitely be doing some animation type videos as well on the channel, and I'm planning on making my own animated movie for like all my videos, and for the streams maybe have like, you know, be right back animations and stuff like that, like movies that I've done. And it's going to take some time, but that's going to be a lot of fun. We're getting close to 100 subscribers on my channel, and when we do, we're going to have our own Discord, and we're also going to have a YouTube membership where you can have custom emotes and stuff like that. And I've already started making some of the emotes myself, so hopefully I'll be done with all those by the time we finally hit 100 subscribers.
That's great to hear, and you will reach it. I guarantee you'll reach that and go beyond as well. I can guarantee you that. Do love your artwork as well, like your avatar. I fucking love that, man. It's so good. But yeah, definitely keep at it. I can't wait to see some of your stuff, especially if you do some art streams as well. Do always love watching people in the creative process, because a lot of people don't understand how long some things take to do, and being able to see people's thoughts process and put pen to paper and stuff. I find that really enjoyable and relaxing to watch, seeing other people be just as creative as I try to be. But no, thank you for being on. Thank you for joining me here. And like I said, I'm sure we will band together with some other videos. I can almost guarantee that as well. I've got other ideas of some other bits and bobs as well, but we'll keep that a bit secret for the minute. But yeah,
Sounds good.
I've been Tom from Jakejames Gaming. Thank you all for watching. Thanks Ethan from Alucard2089. Please do go out and check out his channel, his social medias. They all should have been plugged all underneath us all the way through this video. But definitely do check him out. I can guarantee you will love what he does. But that's been it from both of us. Thank you for watching, and have a great gaming day.